bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, welcome, and happy election day. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where we basically get into all the things going on in celebrity news, pop culture, hot topics, whatever is going on and is trending on these good old internet streets. We chat about it on this good old show. So before we get started with the upcoming topics I'm going to lay out for y'all in this good old second, can you please hit that like button and that subscribe button and also smash that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. And so, yeah, we got to talk about a lot of things. We got to talk about Quincy Jones because, he passed away. We found out about yesterday. I didn't do a show yesterday, so we're going to talk about him a bit. Plus, we got to talk about a lot of people coming out voting for, Trump and Kamala Harris. So we got Azealia Banks is coming out and saying that she flip-flopping per usual. And now she's over there on the side of Kamala Harris. We're going to talk about Alyssa Farah Griffin, who admitted this morning on The View that she's going blue. And she voted for Kamala for the first time. She's a first-time Democrat, switch hitter. So we have that, and then plus we have this Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump stuff that was coming out. Especially there was a bet that went on between him and that pedophile, the disgraced one, pedo, I should say, who they took bets on seeing who could bed Princess Diana. I hope she ain't get it into either one of them nasty looking behind. But yeah, so there's that, and then Garth Brooks, speaking of offenders. Garth Brooks is talking about, well, according to the reports, that he's considering fleeing the U.S. after being accused of SA. We got to talk about Wyatt Cenac, who used to be on the Daily Show, who's basically said that he's not shocked by Jon Stewart excusing Tony Hinchcliffe's recent remarks at the MSG rally. What was it? Almost 2 weeks ago. So now, of course, and also we're going to talk about Jason Kelce breaking his silence after using a homophobic slur during an altercation with a troll. James Vanderbeek, we did mention him in passing in the last episode, but I have more on his cancer diagnosis, and pretty much he said that he had to get ahead of it and spill the tea before a tabloid leaked his personal information. And so that we have that, plus we got to talk about Richard Simmons' brother basically fighting the housekeeper for $1 million in jewelry. And we got Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner apparently are confused by their daughter Violet hanging out with Jennifer Lopez's sister. Speaking of sibling rivalries and things of that nature, or confusion within siblings, Teresa Giudice is finally revealing why she is no longer talking to her brother Joe. Kanye West apparently is pitching a reality TV show, which is probably going to be a thorn in Kim's behind. Barry Keoghan is revealing some tea about his peen scene in Saltburn. And last but certainly not least, we got a damn Austin Wolf update. I'm irritated. But anyway, so like I said, if y'all have not already, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. I'm like, as far as today goes, I just can't wait for this whole situation to be over. If you have not already, get out there and vote. I am going to go vote as soon as I get off this live. I've been running around busy doing a lot of things all day, so I haven't had time to do it. But look, the place is open until 9 o'clock. It's literally across the street from my house, so I'm good. And also, it's just today. It's just a weird day. It's just like I think a lot of us are just running around a bit anxious. I know I'm feeling a little anxiety. Look, literally, the reason why I'm late is not only because I need to get my charger, because I almost forgot it as I was about to go live, but then I don't know, for some reason I just felt like folding clothes before I went live. It was like literally 2 minutes into going live. I was like, oh, I got laundry. Let me fold some stuff. So I guess this is like how I deal with anxiety and stuff. So I am feeling a little anxiousness in the air, but I do feel it in my gut that we are going to be saying by the end of the week, Madam President. But anyway, and some of y'all, if y'all mad about it, you know what I like to say, go argue with your mammy because I don't want to hear it. So let me hit my banner. And let's get into our first topic, which is Quincy Jones, the iconic music producer and composer, passed away on Monday. Oh, I think it might have been, well, we found out about it like early Monday morning, like before the world even woke up. The tea came out. So this was probably like Sunday going into Monday. I said, do we take into account daylight savings time? But anyway, all jokes aside, Quincy Jones passed. And he is an icon. He is a legend. He is the moment. In the words of Wendy Williams, he has worked with just about every celebrity you can think of, including Michael Jackson. Like he produced the Wiz album, which I absolutely love. I believe he also produced the music for The Color Purple, the 1984 one with Whoopi Goldberg. He also produced I almost said Michael Myers, Michael Jackson's iconic albums, including Off the Wall and Thriller. And Thriller is iconic. So, he won all them awards from that. So, according to AP News, I'm not gonna read this whole thing because they literally went in and wrote. I feel like they rivaled the Daily Mail in regards of, okay, are y'all gonna just give us the tea, or are you just gonna write a damn novel in regards of how much tea y'all gonna put in your article? So I'm gonna read as much of it as possible, but I'm not gonna sit through this whole damn thing because we'll be here all day. So it said Quincy Jones, the multi-talented music titan whose vast legacy ranged from producing Michael Jackson's historic Thriller album to writing prize-winning film and television scores and collaborating with Frank Sinatra, Ray Charles, and hundreds of other recording artists, has died at the age of 91. Now, Jones's publicist, Arnold Robinson, said he died Sunday night at his home in the Bel Air section of LA, surrounded by his family. Jones was to have received the Honorary Academy Award later this month. Here we go with the Honorary Academy damn awards and them tight-ass Oscars, instead of just giving people who deserve their flowers. But they said, tonight, with full broken hearts, we must share the news of our father and brother Quincy Jones passing, the family said in a statement. And although this is an incredible loss for our family, we celebrate the the great life that he lived, and know there will never be another like him. And that is absolutely the truth, because there's nobody, no producer ever to exist like Quincy Jones. Now, Jones rose from running with gangs on the south side of Chicago to the very heights of show business, becoming one of the first Black executives to thrive in Hollywood and amassing an extraordinary musical catalog that includes some of the richest moments in American rhythm and song. For years, it was unlikely to find a music lover who did not own at least one record with his name on it, or a leader in the entertainment industry and beyond who did not have some connection to him. Now, they said Jones kept company with presidents of foreign leaders, movie stars and musicians, philanthropists, and business leaders. He toured the Count Basie and Lionel Hampton with Basie and Lionel Hampton, arranged records for Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald, composed the soundtracks for Roots, and in the heat of the night, organized President Bill Clinton's first inaugural celebration and oversaw the all-star recording of We Are the World, the 1985 charity record for famine relief in Africa. And if y'all know, from back in the day, We Are the World was a big deal. We still hear things in regards of how, some people say Madonna should have been on that, and Cyndi Lauper and all of them go through it. Lionel Richie, they all give their opinions on that whole situation. Everybody wasn't going to get on that damn record, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I do remember. I didn't even do stuff like that no more. I miss the days of when we used to do charity songs like We Are the World. And what was that other one? He's the world. That song. Wasn't that a charity song too? That Christmas song. I think that is a Christmas song. But anyway, so they said Lionel Richie, who co-wrote We Are the World and was among the featured singers, would call Jones the master orchestrator. Now, in a career which began when records were still played off platters, tuning at well, you could have just said vinyl chair. This is on platters. Tuning at 78 RPM, top honors likely go to his productions with Jackson's Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, were albums near universal in their style and appeal. Jones's versatility and imagination helped set off an explosive talent of Jackson as he transformed from child star to the king of pop. On such classic tracks as Billie Jean and Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Jones and Jackson fashioned a global soundscape out of disco, funk, rock, pop, R&B, and jazz and African chants. For Thriller, some of the most memorable touches originated from Jones, who recruited Eddie Van Halen for a guitar solo on the genre-fusing Beat It, and brought it to Vincent Price for a ghoulish voice over on the title track. So coming from that, what that basically shows is that, yeah, while people were influenced by Michael, you hear so many artists say that how they were influenced by Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson's the king of pop. You have to realize the other person who was behind bringing all those fusions together, it wasn't just Michael Jackson, it was also his collaboration with Quincy Jones. And I do believe that because of Quincy is why there's so many producers and artists today, even 40 plus years later, who are all about musical fusion. So we need to thank that man for that. and giving us the iconic music that we have that we could still live for today. So they said Thriller sold more than 20 million copies in 1983 alone and has contended with the Eagles' greatest hits 1971 to 75, among others, as the best-selling album of all time. Now, if an album doesn't do well, everyone says it. It was the producer's fault. So if it does well, it should be your fault too, Jones said in an interview with the Library of Congress in 2016. The tracks don't just all of a sudden appear. The producer has to have the skill, experience, and ability to guide the vision to completion. And if you listen to some producers of today, especially like Dr. Dre, because I remember he was going in on it, because I know he's doing I know he worked on Snoop Dogg's new album, which I believe is a follow up to Doggy Style called Missionary. Look, I don't make the news, I just report it. So he has a new album coming out called Missionary, which, like I said, is a sequel to Doggy Style. And I remember that Dr. Dre was pretty much saying that the producers these days don't seem to know how to actually produce the artists. You have so many artists who are just working with 50 people. You got like 12 songwriters, you got a whole writer's camp, you got like 10 different producers on the album, and a producer is actually supposed to steer the ship. So that's basically a producer's job, to bring the things together, hold everything down, stitch it all up, make if you got a whole gumbo with all these different ingredients in it, you got to be able to fuse it all together and help it make sense. And he was good at that. And my thing is, if you have that one producer that could do that, you need to hold on to them. But I also think that a lot of these younger producers come to everybody think they could just flip something open and just like, I'm a producer. But it's like, y'all got to know how to do all the things in the same way of a Quincy Jones. But I also get that the times that were back then and the way music was done is not the same as they do it today. So they also said that the list of his honors and awards fills 18 pages in his 2001 autobiography Q, including 27 Grammys at the time, now 28, an honorary Academy Award, now 2, and an Emmy for Roots. He also received France's Légion d'honneur, the Rudolph Valentino Award for the Republic of Italy, and a Kennedy Center tribute for his contributions to American culture. He was the subject of a 1990 documentary, Listen Up, The Lives of Quincy Jones, and a 2018 film by daughter Rashida. His memoir made him a best-selling author. Now, born in Chicago in 1933, Jones would cite the hymns his mother sang around the house as the first music he would remember. But he looked back sadly on his childhood, once telling Oprah that there are two kinds of people: those who have nurturing parents or caretakers, and those who don't. Nothing's in between. Jones's mother suffered from emotional problems and was eventually institutionalized, a loss that made the world seem senseless for Quincy. He spent much of his time in Chicago on the streets with gangs, stealing and fighting. And that clearly comes from the fact of abandonment. When you don't have parents or a parent or parents there to guide you and teach you and keep you on the straight and narrow, then yeah, you're going to end up in the streets. Because I remember when I was a kid, I could have ended up in the streets hanging out with the wrong crowd and stuff. But the funny thing was, my mother had her foot on my damn neck. And she was like, oh, hell no, you're not. You're not going to be out here. And this was growing up in the projects in Brownsville, Brooklyn. So it's like, no. And in the like 80s and 90s. So that wasn't happening. And then on top of that, I appreciate and I miss the fact that the old school gangsters that existed back in the day. I came up in a time when a lot of old school gangsters used to actually look out for the people in the neighborhood. So whenever I would step out of line, they would snitch on me and tell my mother what I was up to, and I get my behind beat. So I miss the days of those type of the dudes that will hold the block down, the drug dealers, all the other stuff. Because when I would try to get in trouble, they was like, no, they saw something in me where they was like, no, you don't need to be out in these streets doing these things. You need to be going out making something yourself. You need to go out and accomplish the things that you need to accomplish and not get caught up in this crazy matrix of, you know, gangster wannabe-ness. And now looking back on it, I'm so grateful for those people who either a lot of them have passed away or they're in jail because they was out in the streets and they got shot up and things of that. Well, maybe I should say pow pow because we on YouTube. But, I miss the days of when people like that. Now these people don't give a damn. So, um, I want to see if they say, well, how he got out of it. Oh, it said they nailed my hand to a fence. Oh, damn. He said they nailed my hand to a fence with a switchblade. This is what he told Associated Press in 2018, showing a scar from his childhood. He said basically what got him off the streets was that music had saved his life. Now, as a boy, he learned that a Chicago neighbor owned a piano and he soon played it constantly himself. His father moved to Washington State when Quincy was 10, and his world changed at a neighborhood recreation center. Jones and some friends had broken into the kitchen and helped themselves to lemon meringue pie. Well, the Marine pie be lit. When Jones noticed a small room nearby with a stage, on the stage was a piano. He said, I went up there, paused, stared, and then tinkled on it for a moment. He wrote in the autobiography, that's when I began to find peace. I was 11. I knew this was it for me forever. So he basically said that, you know what? He basically, that's what got him into playing the music, is that the piano basically saved his life. And I can attest to that because I remember, like, when I was coming up in the hood, we had a music. I went to a school for gifted and talented, kids. So when you had people who played other things, they wanted you to play the violin, all that stuff. I hated the violin. I just thought it was a little too, it was annoying. It squeaked, it made a lot of noise. So, and Virgos, we easily irritated. So that was not going to be the thing for me. I gravitated more towards the classical piano. So literally, I went over there. I never learned how to read sheet music, but I could hear the music and I could play it back. So, and I know that some people say that's a rare gift that you could play something back by ear, and I would just find the keys and I would just tinker around with it and I would just repeat basically what I was hearing because I had that ear for things. And I've had people even say to me on social media when I'm saying, oh, they should fuse this song with this song. They be like, oh, you got a good ear for music. I'm like, yeah, I've always had that. Not to sound cocky or anything, but I'm just saying. So, the fact of the matter is that by accident, he just discovered this thing that made him want to gravitate towards music, and how what music brings you this sense of calm and this sense of and it's funny how all the little things that affect us always takes us back to our childhood, especially when they always talk about childhood trauma and things of that nature. So that's the way I look at it. But then, yeah, they said that within a few years he was playing trumpet, and then he befriended Ray Charles, who became a lifelong friend. He was even gifted enough to win a scholarship at the Berklee College of Music in Boston, but dropped out when Hampton invited him to tour with his band. Jones, he went on to work as a freelance composer, conductor, arranger, and producer. Then he also backed Billie Holiday as a teen. In his mid-20s, he started touring with his own band. And so, a lot of it, so there's a lot of things that went on with him in like how his career started. So he also, he's been a music exec since like the early 60s. And then in 1971, he became the first Black musical director for the Academy Awards. The first movie he produced, The Color Purple, received 11 Oscar nominations in 1986, which is blasphemous because it won no awards. So this is why that's why I'll be side-eyeing the Oscars with they honorary damn Oscars or whatever. I said, please, y'all turn y'all nose up at The Color Purple when quiet as it's kept. We all know that Whoopi Goldberg should have won that damn year, but y'all wanted to give it to her for doing comedy in Ghost. But look, I always say this, better late than never. At least she got her Oscar, but it should have been for playing Miss Seeley in The Color Purple. I still stand on that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who would agree. They also said that, with a partnership with Time Warner, he created Quincy Jones Entertainment, which included a pop culture magazine. I had no idea that he created Vibe magazine. So they said that, yeah, he basically created the pop culture magazine Vibe and Quest Broadcasting. The company was sold for $270 million in 1999. So, he's created a lot of opportunities. And that's what I love about Quincy Jones is that, you know what? Yeah, he was out here hunching them white women. But at the end of the day, he was very Black. So shout out to him. He never threw his people under the bus. If anything, he excelled his people. He pushed to the next level. I also love his song that he did with Tevin Campbell. That's like one of my favorites. But he when they said that, he did the music for Sinatra's Fly Me to the Moon. He produced that. He also produced Ray Charles' Soulful in the Heat of the Night, which, of course, I guess is from the movie. He also worked with jazz giants Dizzy Gillespie, Duke Ellington, rappers Snoop Dogg and LL Cool J, singers Sinatra and Tony Bennett, pop singers Leslie Gore, and rhythm and blues stars such as Shaka Khan and Queen Latifah. Also, and then he also produced the theme song for The Fresh Prince, which, we love that damn song. So yeah, so it goes on and on and on. There's a whole lot, and like I said, you know what? Condolences to Quincy Jones and his family, and I just wanted to big up his legacy in case those people out there had no idea the amount of influence that someone such as Quincy Jones has had, not only on the music industry, but in pop culture in general. So we got to give our flowers to the icons. So I say, Alyssa, say, what do y'all think of this story? I mean, it's sad, but at the same time, look, he lived a full life. He was 91. which is around the same age as my grandfather. Well, it will be because my grandfather's birthday is this month. So I think it's next week. So 91, I'm like, okay, you lived a full life. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, so Felix says, I actually watched The Greatest Night in Pop the other night. Oh, wait, what is that? It's I just saw Prince's. Oh, yeah, I did hear. I heard that too, that Prince's sister passed away. I didn't get to see exactly for what she passed from, but yeah, I just heard that his sister passed away. I know she's been out here windmill since he passed, windmilling over, stuff going on with the estate and things of that nature. And you said, yeah, I remember in the Ray Charles biopic, they were friends since he was a teenager. So it was like, yeah, he knew a lot of people and got to work with a lot of greats. And there will be no one like, um, in my opinion, like Quincy Jones. And The Greatest Night in Pop is about the recording session. Oh, okay. I may have to watch that. Okay, so now let's get into some political news and let's talk about Mrs. Azealia Banks, who apparently is saying that she is voting for Kamala Harris. Now why do I feel like channeling Beyonce flip flopping ass bitch? Because that's what she is giving me in this post. But it's better. Look, it's better than the alternative because you want to know something? Here's the thing. I just saw that there were some people that came out and said they were supporting Trump. We already know that Caitlyn Jenner, tied behind, was going to be supporting Trump. That's a given. She basically posted that on social media. So you taking screenshots of who you voting for just to rile people up. We already know the scamations and all kinds of the craziness that, Apartheid Clyde is doing over there on Twitter. And then I just heard the porn star Devin Franco just came out as a Trump supporter. So there's a lot of people coming out, doing their supporting and all this other stuff. Plus, we just had Lady Gaga perform at what was it, Kamala's final rally. She did like I believe 2 yesterday. Her, Katy Perry came out. And I said it's gonna be real interesting at the German out of household because when you got Lady Gaga voting for Kamala Harris 2 days before, the voting, until 2 days prior to today, election day. And then you have her father, Joe, that came out, what was it, like a month or two ago, who basically said that he's voting for Trump. So I said it's gonna be real interesting to German out of household on Thanksgiving. But I'm sure they'll work it out. I don't think Gaga cares. She's like, sir, I got money. So if you kick me out the house, you know where I'll be going. And then we'll get into the Alyssa Farah Griffin one because I was like, speaking of households having some issues, I know hers definitely is probably seething when they find out when she admitted today on The View that she voted blue. And she, used to work for Trump. But let's focus on Azealia. So she basically um called Kamala Harris stupid and incoherent, but said that she's voting for her. Well, girl, like I said about you and Little Nas X, whenever you come out, because every week this species, whatever this bitch, I'm not even gonna try to clean up. This bitch always got something to say, and she always wants to be so quick to just come out and give backhanded compliment. Well, I'm a vote. Well, girl, take that and shove it up your ass. That's probably the only kind of yum yum bouncy bouncy your ass getting anyway. Because who's laying it low and spreading it wide with her stink ass pussy? But anyway, I can't stand her because she just be always like. You could have just kept it. I'm not like I'm sitting out here trying to defend Kamala or whatever, but it's just like the backhanded shit is not necessary, in my opinion. You could have just kept that. Pay it, bitch. Pay it. But anyway, so they said Azealia Banks says that she's now voting for Kamala Harris over Republican Donald Trump in Tuesday's U.S. presidential election after previously saying that she was voting for Trump. Or maybe because, the Lil Nas X thing, the Madonna thing, every week she got somebody that you want to fight with. So now she needs to keep her name in the news because nobody is talking about her music. Why do we go through this same scenario? It's like that's like the definition of insanity. It's saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, expecting a different result. Yet here we are. So the 33-year-old, they said musical artist, but I'll put that in quotation marks, because where's the music? Just like y'all be saying about all these other people, where's the music? Cited Trump's alliance with tech billionaire Elon Musk as a key factor in her decision to switch her vote in a series of lengthy tweets on Monday. She said, I really think keeping Elon Musk away from any type of political power in the USA is tantamount to Any issue on the table here, the New York City native said, you have to be a complete idiot to think that dirtbag cares about anyone or anything other than himself. She also said that she believes Musk has already given way too much taxpayer has been already been given too much taxpayer money, and allowing him to ascend to any position of political authority is very effing dangerous. So yeah, because here's the thing: when y'all thinking about Trump and January 6th, here you have someone like Elon Musk who is using his platform, Twitter, as a tool to sway people and spread misinformation because he has the ability to do that and tinker with the algorithm. So whatever kind of information that he feels like that y'all should be getting out here, because if you go on Twitter, you look at that no man's land, that cesspool of filth, and you clearly see that there's a lot of anti blue stuff. And my thing is this: you can vote for whoever you want to vote for. I personally don't care. But I just hate that we've gotten to a place where voting for certain people has caused such division amongst each other. But when you look at it, Trump is the one who created this whole divisiveness to begin with, because they always say divide and conquer. So he knows, like, trying to create this narrative and rile people up and using fear tactics and all these other things to try to get people to be afraid of change. Where, oh yeah, vote for me because I'll fix it. But it's like, you had the opportunity to fix things, when you were back, what was it, back in 2016 when you were running. So when you were working then, what happened between that point and that point that you couldn't get nothing done? And like I've said before, like, I understand why people jumped in and were just like, oh, well, I voted for Trump the first time because they were anti-government. They just didn't like the idea that it was like they felt like both sides had failed them, that somebody who is a businessman or whatever, they would think they were getting celebrity apprentice or apprentice Trump, and that he was going to come in and fix things and change them because he knows business and he's going to make us a ton of money. But the grifter had ulterior motives. So I could understand if somebody who actually was like a Trump type that could come in and walk the walk and do the work and actually want to make a change was going to come in and do things. But that's not what he wanted. He sold you on that BS so that way he can have his other ulterior motives. And he accomplished something with these abortion bans. He definitely did that, made it hard for women to go out here and whoever have medical issues and all this other stuff. And shout out to Rihanna, who basically said that she can't vote, but vote. I guess she was trying to tell y'all vote for Kamala Harris, and I know she was getting into it with people on social media. And y'all should know, Rihanna is very much like Cardi B. Like, she will read y'all down to the floor when you try to come for her on social media. So she was cussing people out. So they also said that she said that she took a number of shots at Musk's ethics and business tactics, adding that one does not become the richest man in the world because of honesty and good character. Well, yes, that came, a lot of his riches came from his father. His father owns a mine or mines. I'm not sure if it's plural or singular, but he owns a mine that's out there in Africa. So all the minerals and things that you got them, probably them damn Africans in there digging up and doing all the dirty work, the slave labor. His career has wholeheartedly benefited from it. So he's a nepo baby. That's why he and Trump are so relatable, or relate in so many ways. And now he's trying to influence, you know, the swayation of politics. When this is what I always say, in general, whether on both sides, these APACs, super PACs, these big money launderers, whatever you want to call it, because y'all, that's basically what it is. A bunch of damn money launderers. I feel like money should not be a factor in a campaign. Oh, I'm going to give you $50 million. No, y'all need to just. I just wish it was just a way that people could just run a clean campaign without money being involved in it. Or is that just too naive for me to think? Because I just feel like the way that what it is, especially when it comes to these people coming in with their money, it's like there's ulterior motives and strings attached to the finances or people's money when they're giving it to you, when they're donating their money. It's like, oh yeah, I'm donating this money to you, but of course, like, once you do get elected, then you have to do all the things that you promised. So Banks did not give a glowing endorsement of Harris, calling the vice president stupid and incoherent, and describing her running mate Tim Walz as trash. Then, bitch, why vote? I understand, like, some people get in this whole sense of lesser than two evils and things. And don't get me wrong, there are things that I wish that Kamala could run on a clear plan of what she was going to be doing as a politician. instead of having a running on Trump is bad. Well, we're not as bad as Donald Trump in his campaign. Like, I wish that wasn't the case, but that seems to be the dominating factor because that is the seed that the Trump campaign has planted. Therefore, that's what they have to run on. We got to be the opposite. We got to give y'all that hope and all that other stuff. So it's very much similar to, in so many ways, the Obama campaign, which is like, yeah, we're going to, that freedom and hope, and let's turn the page and let's start anew and all these other things. And nobody knows what she's going to do when she gets in, which is why I find it funny that some people are like, oh, yeah, she's a war criminal, just like Biden and stuff. It's like, she's the vice president. She's not the one that's got the access to the nuclear codes and pressing buttons and making decisions and slobbing knobs, or slobbing Netanyahu's knob, like some of these people are. Even Trump, who's sitting up in here having little powwows with him. So she also said that she was reluctantly endorsing Harris despite the fact that she is the only Democratic nominee to not have actively campaigned in a primary. Banks described Harris's path to the Democratic presidential nomination the most undemocratic-ish ever, adding that it really says a lot about her supporters' lack of common sense. Banks, who has been outspoken about her disdain for the Tesla founder in the past, again cited Musk in her conclusion, saying that she will be voting for Kamala Harris tomorrow as Musk belongs nowhere near American politics. Banks, in November of 2023, said she was planning to vote for Trump, even went to a rally. Let's not forget about that. She even showed up at a rally, which I'm like, good for her, telling the Standard that she felt way safer where everyone carries a gun until they pow your black ass. And so they said Banks Monday was also critical of Trump's affiliation with RFK Jr. Like, why does he sound like oh my God, what's her name? That actress? Katharine Hepburn. I remember when what the hell's his name? Mario Cantone used to always do impressions of Katharine Hepburn, and that's basically, they sound like the same person. Why does Robert talk like that? Because his brain's got worms in it and it's eating his brain. Is it because, is that why? Is the worms eating? Is it the boar worms? The boar worms. Remember Flash Gordon? Is it the boar worms? Did the boar worms eat his brain? But anyway, let me get serious. So they also said that she called basically Robert F. Kennedy Jr. a zombie ass, adding that his potential position as health minister was gross and stupid AF. First of all, what the hell is a health minister? Like a health minister, why does it sound like some church-ish that y'all about to put up in that? So Banks also said that Trump had prodded China too much, as America is not going to become the self-sufficient domestic manufacturing powerhouse he dreams of. Well, first of all, he bashes China. Meanwhile, you got your Bibles that you charging people for, by the way, them ugly ass gold sneakers and all your other mess being made in China. So what's he talking about? And that basically said that he had been delusional in his stated immigration ambitions. Oh, you mean like trying to get rid of everybody? Like this is like we doing concentration camps? Like we basically just scooping up every person that ain't white and male and Aryan from Darien, and then basically just shipping them out of the country? Because if that's the case, all of y'all need to fucking leave, and the only ones that need to be here is the Native Americans, because this is occupied territory by the Native Americans until they was colonized by morons like some damn Christopher Columbus, which is why we call it Indigenous Day rather than some damn Columbus Day. She also said that while we are on the precipice of two major wars with 4 nuclear powers involved, USA, Iran, Israel, and Russia, the everyday America is too sick, obese, distracted, transgendered to fight a war and win. Banks advised Harris to actually pay attention and get caught up to speed when well, honey, she's been getting caught up to speed during this damn campaign, because she had 100-something plus days to get people on her side to vote for her. And then on top of that, she was the vice president of the United States for 4 years. So if anybody has an idea of what's going on in the White House, especially when it comes to Joe Biden, I think it would be her, because she's been the vice president alongside of running for president for the 4 years, plus the 100 plus days that she's been out campaigning endlessly. Has this donkey been living under a rock? So she basically said, please don't get caught sipping, sis. Make us proud. Revise that weak ass economic plan for black men and direct it towards black women. We are the social, cultural, economic backbone of black American society. And if everyone needs unforgivable loans and free weed to cope with the BS, it's us. Now, I will agree with her. We do need unforgivable loans and free weed. Oh, shit, I'm tired of paying for my La Ganja Estranja. So, but yeah, they need to work on. Well, the economy is slowly getting better, but I do feel like for the most part, the economy is an issue. A lot of people just want to get a little bit of a leg up. They do feel like that the aspirations beyond their reach. That a lot of people just trying to pay their bills. People should not have to work 3 jobs just so that way they can pay their rent. They can buy food. They can put gas in their car. They can pay their kids tuition. Like I'm hearing stuff about schools charging $50,000 for tuition. I'm like, for why? What are they? What is this? The books made of gold? So there's a lot of stuff that's going on in this country, and it's like, yeah, y'all need to loosen the strings and the restraints, loosen the belt a little bit on like helping people get a leg up. And she is saying that she has this plan about how that she can help first time homeowners and things. And I know a lot of people's issue is also young people want to be able to support themselves and have their own place to live. Who wants to be a generation of like, not that saying it's a bad thing, but who wants to be a generation of like, oh, I have to live at home with my parents because I can't afford my own apartment because a 1 bedroom apartment is $1,300 damn dollars. Like, where they do that at? That don't make no damn sense. The price gouging of these greedy ass landlords. Where it was like every year, and then every year you want to up the prices on apartments and things. So that's basically what people want, is that people at the end of the day just want to be able to take care of themselves. I know there's other issues that people have, like with Palestine and things, and yeah, that is one of the issues that I have as well, and how our country has been in bed with Israel for since long before I was born. So, and how we need to kind of stop brown nosing in other people's business. But child, we always been asserting ourselves in other people's stuff. So to untangle that web, that's going to take a long time, and that's probably going to happen. That's probably going to take even after Kamala Harris is no longer president for us to get out of that. So if y'all thinking that's going to be an overnight thing, oh, it's so easy. We can just, but you can smack Netanyahu on the damn hand though. Because I'm like, if Ronald Reagan could pose a threat back in the day when there was going to be a bombing, and they listened, then y'all can do the same thing to that heifer over there in Israel. So while Azealia Banks did make some valid points, she's still getting my goddamn root canal nerve. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Are you here for what Azealia has to say? Do you agree with what she has to say? Or is she just yet another one who just can't seem to have a conversation without giving some tired ass backhanded compliment or backhanded comment? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Now, speaking of comments, she damn sure is flip flopping ass bitch, in the words of Beyonce. Yeah, Little Wayne gremlin looking ass too. Yeah, he said that he's coming out, but we all knew that. I said, you see why they ain't asked your dusty ass, horrible live performing ass to not perform at the Super Bowl, because you have no stage presence. He's horrible on stage. It's like, yeah, you got your songs, but first of all, nobody's going to listen to you talking about eating pussy for 12 minutes. Not on a family friendly stage. Who was it exactly? Who is she? Who is she? In the words of RuPaul. Who is Azealia Banks? I'm asking for my 60-year-old black gay friend who is a talent scout. Well, no, nobody needs to scoop her black ass up. Leave her exactly where she is. Her in that raggedy weave. Leave her homeless. Because, she got, allegedly, according to Funky Dineva, when she got evicted from that apartment in Florida, because he used the same moving company. He said that they had to leave her stuff on the lawn because she couldn't afford to pay the movers to move her stuff. So you out here worrying about everybody else, but you can't even afford to pay movers to move your things out of your apartment you were evicted from. Like, maybe you need to work on that, or maybe you need to ask Kamala Harris when she becomes president, if you can get on that list for that little loan that she talking about giving people. What she said, $25,000. Like, have her give you a little down payment, because you need that so you can keep your apartment. and keep singing 212 and get your little, your little stimulus checks from that. I'm here, I'm done shopping. Hi, Robert. You said she's a one-hit one. No, she's a no-hit wonder because none of her songs were hits. Like she didn't even go to number one with any of those songs. You would think with 212 that would have been a big hit. It was in the UK. And there's no shade to the UK, but it's like it's not that hard to have a hit over there. Um, I like the UK. Shout out to my British people. Shout out to the fans that watch the show from the UK. But it's not that hard to get a hit over there, Chad. Yeah, but that's basically her career. That she just talks crap about people. And you said I wasn't going to send my gay energy to Google her. Please don't. I just had to waste all my energy to talking about her. Still got a little left. I had me some coffee from Dunkin' Donuts earlier, so I'm awake. And thank you to the Republicans for choosing people over party. Common sense. I got the 35th Killer Clown from Outer Space, Screen Factory Blu-ray. And we know you love your Blu-rays. Now, speaking of Republicans who are choosing party over, who are choosing, party over the other mess, let's talk about Alyssa Griffin, who chose country over party, I should say. Because I was like, speaking of, I couldn't even find the words. But yeah, she chose country over party. And she admitted on The View this morning, which I didn't watch, but I saw the article was trending. So I was like, let's talk about it. So she basically admitted on The View this morning that she voted blue for you know who. That'd be Kamala, not the other one. Because Whoopi refers to him as you know who. So now, after years of speaking out against her former boss, both off and on her post at The View, yet never fully endorsing, or officially, I should say, endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential race, ex-White House staffer and prior Donald Trump aide, Alyssa Griffin revealed on Election Day that she voted for the Democratic candidate for the first time in her life. Now, during the November 5th episode of The View, the 35-year-old commentator shared, 4 years ago today, I was in the White House with Donald Trump on election night. I believe he deserved to lose that night in 2020. At that point, I thought he hadn't fought to win the election, but I thought the next 4 years would be the Republican Party rebuilding and becoming something I could believe in and turning the page on Donald Trump, and it didn't do that. So this weekend on Saturday, for the first time in my life, I voted for a Democrat. So she did early voting, as a lot of New Yorkers did on Saturday. So applause from the audience. She said, I voted for Kamala Harris. She then clarified that she voted down ballot for Republicans for her remaining decisions. I consider my vote on loan, not I considered my vote on loan to her. So she's like, okay, well, I voted down ballot. Well, I haven't looked at the ballot because I haven't voted yet. And I'm going to vote, like I said earlier, as soon as I'm done with the show. However, I want to know who's on that ballot that she would vote for and what they stand for. Because I need to look at that paper. So I'm gonna need y'all to fan out for those of y'all, because I'm gonna cut this up as a clip. And it's like the people that they have on that ballot, are they for any kind of change in the world of the United States and the country, whatever? Because I'm like, when I see vote down ballot, I be wondering, it's like, okay, so if you got Donald J. Trump at the top and you got all them crazy ass people that he got on the ballot, are they in alignment with him or an alliance with him? Or are they a part of his situation? Or these other Republicans who still believe in the old republic, as in Ronald Reagan's republic, and don't agree with Trump, but are still out here fighting the good fight in regards to politics? That's what I need to know. So, and then, and that's why I say also, like, even if you go and you vote Democrat or whatever, you need to, even if you're not sure, because a lot of people only think that the most important thing is Kamala Harris, but it's like, it's not about just her. It's like, you got to look at the senators, you got to look at the Congress, you got to look at all the other little people that work within the bubble that are working behind the scenes as well, because it's not just her. Yeah, she's the big snake at the top. She's the big kahuna. But then there's also a constituent of people that are underneath her that we need to know, what are they about? What are they doing behind the scenes? What work, what does their resume look like? And are they for whatever your interests are? And I feel like that's what people only pay attention to the big name. It's like, no, you need to look at the members of Congress as well. And a lot of the local politicians as well in your neighborhood. So she says she considers her vote on loan. Now that's funny though. It's like, yeah, I don't agree with her policies or whatever, but we know that we cannot let this man take over the White House. And I think that's the main thing that we need to look at, is that at the end of the day, if there's a situation, I know, whether you agree with or disagree with her, that, the position of, well, our position on Palestine, on healthcare, on the pricing of things, price gouging, all that other stuff, home ownership, like starting a private business, or small business, or whatever you want to call it, all those little things, whatever issues that you have that affect you. I feel like at the end of the day, we can address her when we need to. You're not going to be able to do that with him. He only wants people that agree with him all the time. We've seen this, where it's like my way or no way. And if that's the world that y'all want to live in, then there's plenty of countries outside of the United States that have that kind of fascism. Maybe spend a couple of days there and see what it's like. Go hang out in North Korea. Well, first of all, you go to North Korea, you're probably gonna end up in jail. Or go to Russia with Putin or whoever else, or whatever other, fascist presidents, prime ministers, or whatever are around, and see what that world is like for those people. Like, I just saw an article that came out that was like, what? That a Russian gay club was raided and they arrested 50 people. Like, I wouldn't want that kind of. Would you want that to, if you, as a homosexual who voted for Trump, like that clown Caitlyn? Would you want somebody to vote against? Well, at the end of the day, she's got money, so she can confine herself in a her little bubble. Where she live, in Calabasas? So it's like, people will vote against their own interests because they feel like it doesn't affect them. First of all, Caitlyn older than Methuselah. Ain't nobody cleaning them pipes. So she good where she at. And so she don't have to worry about things regarding if Trump and Vance become president, how it would affect her as a trans woman. I feel like, quiet as it's kept, with the way she be acting, I feel like she doing trans cosplay. But that's just me. Because it's like, you went and killed that person, so now you had to go change your whole damn gender so you can go not deal with that situation. But like I said, that's just me, and that's my opinion. I'm standing on it. I don't like the bitch, and I don't feel like that. Just because somebody's a part of the LGBTQ plus community, that they deserve grace. They don't. Not when you are someone who is against me as a human being, and you're supposed to be part of the community. I can't stand to pick me. I can't stand a coon. I can't stand none of that. So people who are, if you're black and you go against your own people because you want to be accepted by a bunch of racists, then I can't be bothered with you. You getting cursed out. Same thing with people who are part of the queer community. If you're a person of the queer community, but now you want to talk about ex-gay this, and you can be delivered and all that other foolishness, and then you want to talk about and you want to vote against LGBTQIA plus rights, and you are a member of the community, you're getting cursed out too, and you do not get the grace. So for those of y'all that want to go, oh, you're misgendering, go suck my ass go suck the shit out my ass through a straw, is basically what I'm gonna say on that. So I don't do the whole when they go low, we go high. I am petty and I'm shady. So I don't give people the grace when they don't deserve it. You getting cursed out. Now go argue with your mammy, because I don't want to hear it. Just saying. So she basically said, to wrap this up, I'm worried about the direction Donald Trump will take this country, and I take my own warning seriously. What I saw is very real. I'm a Christian, I'm an American, and I'm a Republican, in that order. Come on, Mama G, in that order. And it's that, and I need somebody who shares my values. I need somebody who's a kind and decent person who will bring this country together. I don't agree with a lot of her policies. We can criticize those down the road. But today it's about a brighter future. And I think the best thing for the country and the future of the Republican Party is that Donald Trump lose and Kamala Harris is elected. And that is basically how, and you know what, I couldn't have said it better myself. I totally agree with that. It's like, yeah, while you don't necessarily have to agree with their political views, and at least, like I said earlier, you can get in that room and you can criticize her on that, and she'd be open to listen. Hopefully, we just hope that this is all not performative, and then once you become president, then you're going to start pulling some Trumpisms, because then you do. Remember, says you're going to be trying to get elected another 4 more years. And if that's the game you want to play, then we'll just have to kick her out. But I do feel like, as well, you know what, Republicans, I don't want to give y'all no advice, but here is some. Maybe y'all need to figure out, like, once he loses, And I think I've said this before. What does the future of the Republican Party look like? Like, is it the MAGA movement? Is that what you want to see yourselves as, instead of just running away and quitting because the iron is too hot with Trump and all his screaming and yelling, and a lot of you politicians that's supposed to have a damn backbone and fighting for the country are too damn pussy to deal with a loudmouth who's literally losing his damn mind in real time because, oh, I can't take being flung insults. I'm like, cuss his ass out back. Sometimes you gotta fight a bully. Sometimes you gotta put paws on a bully. Sometimes you gotta cuss a bully out. So when him up there doing his little things and y'all thinking it's funny, which I think a lot of his base is, which is why it was funny when I was watching Rachel Maddow earlier, and she was literally saying that, yeah, people were leaving his rallies as soon as he comes out. I said, didn't I tell y'all that when I worked the MAGA rally at Madison Square Garden? I literally told y'all that. The minute he came out, people went and got their picture. They put their camera up like this to their little photo to show that they in the room. But they say they in the eyeline of him on that stage, on that podium. And they were like, where's the exit? That's all they was waiting on. So they waited 7-8 hours just to watch him to come out so they could say they were there, but they didn't listen to the speech. And that's what's been happening. A lot of people aren't, they know what they're going to get when they go to these rallies. It's restless. It's annoying. He's annoying. He rambles about a bunch of damn nothing. Somebody he want wrestlers to fight or wrestle immigrants, like, or what was it? He said some type of athletes or whatever. He wanted them to wrestle immigrants. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And talking about how he was gonna fight his own damn staff because there was some technical difficulties. I'm like, first of all, your fat ass can't even run, let alone fight somebody. The only thing you good at is running over that damn mouth, because we know his orange ass ain't fighting, and we don't want a situation like the scene out of Real Housewives of New Jersey. When what was it? When both the Joes got into a fight. Remember when Joe Gorga and Joe Judice got into a fight? And that was back when Joe Gorga was wearing that spray on hair or whatever on top of his head trying to cover the bald spot. Now he shaved it off. He got a nice head. It's funny enough, we're gonna be talking about Teresa and Joe later on in the show. But they was fighting, and all of a sudden that spray stuff that he had on his face, on his head, whatever the hell it was, got all over the wall, got all over Juicy Joe. He like, what the hell is this? It was the stuff that was on his head, because I guess he wasn't thinking that he was gonna get into a fight, and he was embarrassed because he was trying to hide his bald spot, and he was literally up in there spraying it. Thank God he wasn't wearing a toupee, because if Juicy Joe would have ripped that off, that would have been the ultimate cackle on reality TV. You know they would have used that footage because it would have been ratings gold. So that's what you're gonna get when you get in a fight with Trump. You know you're getting all that, whatever that orange foundation stuff that he uses, because he ain't even white. I don't even know what shade of orange that is that he uses. That would have gotten all over y'all clothes, and that would have been a wrap. So shout out to Alyssa Farah Griffin. It's like she understands the bigger picture. She's basically saying, you know what? I may not agree with her policies, but I understand the state that we're in right now. And it's like, yeah, y'all can run out here to about vote Jill Stein. Child, she ain't getting in office. She's not winning. You thinking that you are clearing your conscience by voting for the Green Party. So because you don't want to vote for two warmongers, because apparently there's people out there who believe that they could both sides the situation in a lot of things. And it's like, no, there's no both sides. There may be some situations on both sides that there could be similarities in regards to the politics, but it's not like you would just brush it with one broad brush or whatever the case is. Politics is complex. And until you've been in the room with these people and you understand how the game is played, that you can sit on the sidelines with your little pom-poms and your little skirt and singing, I'm sexy, I'm cute, I'm popular to boot, I'm bitching great hair, these hoes all up the stair. Or however the song goes and bring it on. You can sit up there and be your little cheerleader, but that ain't gonna get nothing done. So not being on the sidelines like that. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, and whatever side you lean politically, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so Robert says, I know in my heart Trump's not winning. He'll get votes, but the way people think Kamala is getting close to 400 plus electoral college. I don't trust electoral college, but I do feel like history is going to be made. My gut is definitely telling me we're going to be saying Madam President by the end of the week. So, like I said earlier, go argue with your mammy. You can be mad all you want, but first of all, the world's not going to burn. It's not going to go. It's not going to come to an end because you have a woman of color running the country. If we can get through 8 years of a black man, running the country, you can deal with a woman of color running the country as well. And it'd be nice that for once we can get, you know, a woman running the country. What's wrong with a woman? Women get a lot more done than a lot of you men. We've had many a year, many a decade, many a centuries of like we're like what? How long is how old is the United States? Like 200 some odd years old. So we're relatively a young republic, and we've had 46 presidents. So within that time frame, it's time for a change. Men have had enough time to try to do what needs to be done. So maybe it's time to see if a woman could finally do a man's job, as they say. Content and comfortable in my skin to want to put up with for to try different things and want change. A lot of people are afraid of it, but I'm like, sometimes it's inevitable. As you said, for those pro-Palestine, I could tell you it's not really popular in Washington. You'll be talking to a wall if you're. Well, look, there's a lot of people that, and you know what? There was this video that I saw on, I think it was MSNBC, where there was what is it? Like he was a Muslim American or Arab American, not Muslim American, Arab American, who was talking about this situation similar to how he feels about, you know, when he was talking about Palestine and all the other stuff going over there. And of course, we have the thing going on with Iran and everything. You know, we're in so many damn wars right now. I just why do we love wars so much? That's what I want to know. But he basically said the same thing that was similar to what the hell's her name? Well, Alyssa Farah Griffin, which is basically that he doesn't agree with a lot of the policies and stuff, but he knows at the end of the day, once she gets Kamala Harris gets in office, that you know there's an opportunity for a conversation to be had. You don't know how someone's going to run their campaign or how they run the country until they're in there. So for people thinking that, oh yeah, because she was vice president to Biden, yeah, she basically just going to do exactly what he did. You don't know that. First of all, none of y'all are an oracle. None of you are a genie. So you don't know what this person's going to do. So people can make speculations and get on social media with their Marxist bullshit all they want. But until we're in the moment, then I respond. I don't sit up here and do woulda, coulda, shouldas. I don't do premonitions. I don't do that. First of all, my name is not Phoebe Halliwell, and I am not from Charmed. So I'm not sitting up here touching shit, and all of a sudden I can see the future. I'm not Raven Simone either, or as I should say, Raven Baxter. You're not gonna go in my eye, and I'm gonna see the future. So we're going to sit up here and wait until things happen, and then when they don't do what needs to be done, then we can criticize. That sounds more human or more reasonable to me because I think logically rather than emotionally. Now I get in my feelings with my tone and temper, but for the most part, I am a logical thinker. I think because that's what Virgos are. We are logical thinkers. 250 years, still relatively young country. And then the media and the media didn't cover her. That really helped her. Trump is ratings go. Yeah, and that's what irritated me about the media. I guess in so many ways is a blessing and a curse, where it's just like, yeah, on one hand, y'all just entertain with the shenanigans, kind of like what a lot of his supporters are. I don't feel like a lot of his supporters believe in the BS. I think a lot of it, they just like the pomp and circumstance. He literally performs like this is like some WWE type stuff. Like it's very much, you know, and that's what they're pandering to. They're pandering to that base, those young guys who love wrestling and showmanship and all that. And he's given that. But you're not talking policy. You're just calling everybody stupid. When you the dumbest one up there. I want to watch no national media. I don't trust. I don't trust own of those lying slime balls. But we'll see when Roland Martin's show starts and see what he says. But yeah, I don't really watch a lot of like the mainstream media stuff. There's very few people I watch. I watch there's a couple of a lot of political shows. Wait, did my phone fully charge? I was like, my phone is hot. No, it's at 86 and it's overheating. I was like, damn, I need to figure out who it is. Oh, uh-uh. Hey, EJ and DJ, they said, yeah, we watching. They said, now Azealia makes us vote for Harris. Oh, yeah, they said, yes, we watching. So it was like, y'all watching my show? How you doing? Because I just got that text message. But it was like, yeah, there's a couple of shows and things that I watch and things. And it's funny how like I hate when I'm putting myself on the spot because I can never remember the politics. I watch what is his name? The ZTO show. I would never know how to say that. Mehdi Hassan show. I basically watch him. And then what's the other one name? His last name is Cohen. His fine self. I've been watching him lately with his videos and things of that nature. So I watch a lot of them. I do not watch the Young Turks. I already know I can't stand them over there because they sound like a bunch of damn idiots. So I don't particularly care for them anymore. But I do, and I don't watch a lot of MSNBC. They've pretty much been on it when it comes to some things. So I'll be watching because I love me some Joy Reid. So I watch me some Joy Reid. I watch me some Rachel Maddow, Brian Tyler Cohen. I don't know why I can't remember his name. I said, "Oh, fine ass boy." If you cute and you smart, oh, definitely. Part the cheeks because my face is going right up in there. So, it's not only like the attraction is a plus, but I am attracted to people that are relatively intelligent. I forget what the term for that is. We get like attracted to people's brains. Sailor Mermaid's in the building. How you doing? Oh yeah, like I said, Brian Tyler Cohen. But anyway, so are we done? No. I was like, are we done? No, let's talk about more Donald Trump news. Over this man. I can't wait till we stop talking about him. But I feel like, you know what, even when he loses, and he will lose because he is a loser, I do feel like he is not gonna go anywhere anytime soon. We're still gonna be stuck with this heifer. And I'm just gonna be groaning through it. Unless it's something juicy going on, that'll be the only way you're gonna get me to talk about him. So there's some tea coming out about, his close friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, where he basically claims that he knows intimate knowledge of his proclivity for sex, including cuckolding his best friends, according to obtained recordings. Now, this is from Radar Online. So they said Jeffrey Epstein allegedly showed off photos of Donald Trump with topless young women sitting on his lap before he died. Now, Radar Online can reveal that sex-obsessed friends had a competition over who could bed the most women and place bets on who would sleep with Princess Diana first. Do you think that Donald Trump, the reason why his memory is declining, and trust and believe the way he's acting, his memory is declining, you think he got some untreated syphilis? That's what I'm wondering. Because syphilis, if you don't treat it, it will definitely cause you some mental situations going on up there. And he looked like the type that'll run around with 5 different STIs up in his body at once, allegedly, and be all of a sudden, you know, won't get it treated. And at this point, you ain't got to go down to the free clinic. You could pretty much have somebody come to you and give you a shot in your big ass, so that way you can clear, them diseases up. Although I don't know what's the cure for syphilis because I never had it. So I don't know what you need for that. What is the one you need a shot in your butt for? Chlamydia? Clementine? I like to call, I like to give them other names because I don't be liking like chlamydia and gonorrhea. Gonorrhea is Gertrude and chlamydia is Clementine. So I like to give them woman names. I don't know why, but look, don't judge me. It's like how people name cars females. I name my STIs females. Sapiosexual, that's what it is. I'm a sapiosexual. And they say that sexually attracted to one's intelligence. I don't know if I could make sapiosexual work as much as I can make, as I do homosexual. So we're just going to stick to whatever. He's out with a Melania body double. I would not be surprised. But didn't he use one of them before? But anyway, let's get into this tea because I want to get through this and move on. I can't stand this man, but there's some tea, so we got to talk about it. So they said Michael Wolff claimed the late convicted predator had once shown him a number of pics of the former U.S. president. Wolff made the claim on his Fire and Fury podcast, saying that Epstein possessed about half a dozen images showing Trump by a pool with young women allegedly taken in the late 90s. The pictures were allegedly taken at the Wall Street financier's home in Palm Beach, Florida, sorry. Now, according to Wolff, Epstein kept the photos in a safe, with the FBI seized during a 2019 raid on his properties around the time of his arrest. Prosecutors confirmed the raid uncovered hundreds of photos of girls and young women, however, did not. Well, I wonder how old they were, so y'all need to look into that too. However, they did not release any details about the contents of the pics they obtained. Wolff told the podcast listeners, "There's one I especially remember. where there's a stain, a telltale stain on the front of Trump's pants. Ew. They said there was a stain on the front of his pants, and the girls are laughing. So you had a little PC on your pants, but I wonder if it was a lot, like or like a little dripping, a little drop, a little drip, drop, drip, drop, drip, drippity drop. Remember that song from Empire? Or was it like a little skeet skeet, like on the Monica Lewinsky blue dress? Either way, I don't want to imagine Donald Trump getting a little skeet skeet on anything or getting so excited that he leaving wet stains on his pants. Like, bleh. I mean, that's probably like how Melania feels whenever he tries to go in for a kiss. Now, Wolf said that he regularly interviewed the disgraced financier for his 3 books about the former president before his self-unaliving. That's what they're calling it, but I'm not buying it. I truly believe that Epstein was taken out, but they want to call it, on while awaiting trial for sex trafficking charges. There be so many words in here. I swear to Christ, YouTube, y'all get on my damn nerves. How y'all be messing with my algorithm because there's certain words that you can't say. So you got to be real careful when you in here. So one of the details the author revealed about Trump and Epstein's friendship was the joint goal of vetting Princess Diana. He said Diana and the royal family seemed to represent some ultimate get for Epstein and Trump and an ultimate competition. At this moment in time, Diana was the world's most famous woman. There was no greater 1980s status symbol. And partly because sex seemed to be their singular focus, I believe they thought they could sleep with any woman they wanted to, including a princess. Now, thinking about this in the 80s, wasn't he married to Ivana at the time? He needs somebody in that world to do the math for me. So they said, despite the friendship, tensions arose between Epstein and Trump. Now, Wolf said that the convicted S offender suspected the New York businessman of betraying him to authorities, leading the Epstein conviction in 2008 for soliciting from a minor. The GOP nominee distanced himself from Epstein after the allegations of S abuse surfaced, claiming to have cut ties with him long before the legal troubles ensued. A spokesperson for the Trump campaign accused Wolf of being a disgraced writer who routinely fabricates lies in order to sell fiction books because he clearly has no morals or ethics. Now, I know y'all didn't have the absolute gall to say that out your mouths. Who wrote that? Because now they're trying to say that a disgraced writer who routinely fabricates lies. Now, first of all, we know everything that comes out of the Trump mouth and his people is a lie. And then you want to call stuff fiction. Are we talking about The Art of the Deal? That book? That book of fiction? Because you claim you wrote it and you didn't. And then you talking about morals and ethics. Have y'all not been listening to the stuff that's been coming out of this man's mouth since the beginning? Well, it's over the years, but mainly throughout his recent presidential campaign. So isn't that the pot calling the kettle beige? So they claim he waited until days before the election to make outlandish false smears, all in an effort to engage in blatant election interference on behalf of Kamala Harris. He's a failed journalist that is resorting to lying for attention. Well, first of all, whenever it comes to your own tea coming out, why is it always that you campaign against other people to try to destroy what other people are doing? Like that always never makes sense to me when y'all always try to use that as your argument. Oh, you're an agent for Kamala Harris that she sent y'all to basically try to destroy my situation or to defame me or whatever. And I just, child, if you don't get off my line with the BS. So yeah, so basically all that is out. But I feel like at this point, you want to know something? We could sit up in here and talk about this till the cows come home. But I feel like at this point, people have pretty much made up their mind at about now. Where we have the early voting, mail-in ballots, and now today is election day. So people are pretty much at this point already made up their mind who they voting for. So me telling this story is not gonna move the needle one way or the other. Kind of like with his Trump supporters. That man didn't even work to try to bring more people over to his side. He just went after a specific group. He just kept in his little thing so that we could have his little people giving him his applause. Like he's Tinkerbell. You clap for them that they get that energy, they get that vibe of waking up or whatever the case is. He gets the juices going, and I don't feel like that he's moved the needle in any old way to try to bring the world together, where that's the where Kamala is doing the opposite. Like I've said many a times, where however you agree with her politically, the one thing she is trying to do is unite the nation and get us to a better place. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Like I said, I don't feel like it's gonna move the needle no way. Everybody's already pretty much made up their mind. If you still undecided and it is November 5th, election day, child, there's no hope for you. Go out and touch some grass at this point. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, so now let's move on to our next topic and let's talk about Garth Brooks, who apparently is talking about, speaking of S offenders, allegedly, he talking about that he planned on leaving the US after being accused of sex abuse. Now I feel like at this point, if this is your plan to leave the country, then doesn't that pretty much show signs that you might be guilty? Which I would not be surprised. So, some people be thinking that I just been spending a little too much time talking about Diddy, but I haven't been talking about all these other people. But I said, everybody gets it equally on this damn show. And later on in the show, we're gonna be talking about Austin Wolf. So it ain't just black folks that get on this show. Everybody who out here doing things they ain't supposed to be doing is gonna get got. So Garth Brooks hints that he's planning to leave the U.S. for Ireland amid recent assault allegations. The country star, who's 62, shared that his wife, Trisha Yearwood, who's 60, who he refers to as the Queen, is pushing hard to get a house in the Emerald Isle during a recent episode of his Facebook Live series Studio G. So we played 2 weekends, so we went on that stint across the country, and everyone was so sweet to her, Brooks said, adding that his wife fell head over heels in love with Ireland while he toured there in 2022. Brooks has been hugely popular in Ireland since the 90s, with his 2022 concert sparking a historic storm of demand for tickets. News of their possible move comes just weeks after Friends in Low Places star was accused of R-wording a makeup artist who formerly worked for his wife, according to a claim filed in a state court in California in early October. Saying, for the last 2 months, I've been hassled to no end with threats, lies, and tragic tales of what my future would be if I did not write a check for many millions of dollars. Hush money, no matter how much or how little, is still hush money. In my mind, that means I'm admitting to behavior I am incapable of. Ugly acts no human should ever do to another. Well, I can understand you saying all of that, and how the woman was basically saying how you did a whole bunch of things where you and he basically compared it to having a loaded gun waved in his face. But the woman accused him and basically said that he booked one bedroom in the hotel when she was supposed to work on him or whatever. She was, I guess, was his makeup artist or something or another, that he shared with his wife. And then he only booked one room when she asked him to provide another room. He didn't. She also accused him of accosting her in a doorway with no clothes on, hauled her into another room, dangled her upside down by the ankles, and R-worded her. And then also at one point, I guess she, they basically said that he showed sexually explicit messages that there was between them. Or it came out that there was a screenshot in the filing that there was a text conversation which showed explicit messages between herself and Brooks. Saying, and that huge stick you carry, Roosevelt, the plaintiff allegedly wrote in a redacted text featured in her lawsuit per In Touch. I'll take that nickname. Thank you. I love you, Brooks allegedly replied, then laughing with heart emojis. So I'm thinking at this point now, were you actually R-worded, or is this some situation? Oh, wait, hold on now, because I got the damn evidence in regards of what was allegedly said in the text. And my thing is, are you a scorned woman who was basically out here laying low and spreading it wide with a married man? You decide not to close your legs to a married man, and when things didn't go your way, now you want to extort? Because for those who don't know, quiet as it's kept, the way Trisha Yearwood got with Garth Brooks was he was out here cheating on his first wife, who he has 3 kids with, by the way. The first wife. I don't know if he has kids with Trisha Yearwood, but yeah, those are the 3. The one on the end looked like a lesbian, but she might be trans. Shout out to the LGBT LMNOPs. But hold on, yeah. So he said that he shares 3 grown daughters: Taylor, who's on the right, who's 32; August, who's on the left, that's 30; and Allie, who's in the center, that's 28. That's all with his first wife, Sandy Mall. But I have no idea if he has kids with Trisha Yearwood. So, he was married to her since 1986, and they separated in 2000. And Brooks was first introduced to Trisha Yearwood in 1988, and then he began dating her the year he split from Maul and ultimately married her in 2005, which probably makes you think that he was out here laying low and spreading it wide with Trisha Yearwood. That's the alleged rumor, and how he was cheating throughout their marriage. So why would you think that when you get with new puss, that you're not going to do the same things you did with the previous wife to the new wife? So, and from based off the rumors, they were out here pretty much saying that Trisha Yearwood and him got an open marriage, and they be doing 3-ways and 4Gs and things of that nature. And look, if that's what y'all do, I'm not here to judge that. If that y'all have an open marriage and that's what makes it, that spices, as in the Spice Girl says, it spices up your life, then you go ahead and you do that. But for the most part, I can't stand when people be out here trying to act like, oh, they holier than thou, but they be freaks behind the scenes. And if this girl is actually making this up and lying, basically for attention, then this is why, we have so many women who are afraid to come out with accusations of SA, which is basically less than 3%. I learned that from Sonny Hostin. So less than 3% of women come out and admit that they've been assaulted. And we already know that sexual assault is hard to prove. I've learned that over the years watching Law and Order Law and Order SVU for 25 seasons. I love my Olivia Benson. I almost said Olivia Pope. Shout out to Kerry Washington. That's Olivia Pope's sidebar. I saw a picture of her and Mariah Carey earlier. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep an eye on this story as it develops. But I'm like, I am not surprised that these two would probably run off and try to leave the country, like pull a Roman Polanski. Because I'm sitting there like, you know what? If you are so innocent in this situation, I would sit and fight it. Why am I trying to flee the country if I didn't do nothing wrong? All of a sudden, I'm gonna go to Ireland. What the hell is an island? Except Irish people and a lot of land, a lot of green land. As in the land is green, not Greenland. A lot of green land. And I'm sure you'll be hearing a lot of people with those Irish brogues. Shout out to Barry Keoghan and, the Penguin, Colin Farrell, who still have their Irish brogues. So I say, well, let's say, what do y'all think of this story? I feel like, if you're trying to flee the US, if this story turns out to be true, a hit dog will holler, is what I will say on this situation. Do I believe that there was some possible? I believe what I believe is the fact that I believe there was some infidelity going on, and y'all getting caught up in some stuff, and she probably tried to extort some money when he probably tried to leave the situation alone or whatever, and he's sitting out here trying to deny it. But if you got a high sex drive and your current wife is not giving you what you need, then this is why I always say y'all need to be upfront and honest in the beginning about y'all wanting your open marriages and things of that nature. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay. Um Sailor Mermaid says the fact that they would ever get with Diana. That's what I said. First of all, she was already with one ugly man, King Charles. Why would she get with two other ones? And he said, the People's Princess Queen would never. But then I was gonna say, but then she did get with Charles. But I understand why. Look, I understand why women do the things they do sometimes. Who do you think? Who do you guys think will honestly win? Bias and who you voted for aside? Who will? I don't like. I don't want the electoral college choosing, but I do feel like Kamala Harris is going to win. I do feel like in so many ways that our government, these people behind the scenes that he has put in place are going to pull any kind of stunt and show. And trust and believe, they've been planting this seed days before, the whole election thing was going on. He knows he lost. He knows he has no rat's chance in hell of winning. The only way people like him win is to steal. That's what you should have called that book, The Art of the Steal, not no damn deal, because what deals has he ever made? North Carolina is predicted to go to Trump. Well, they lost their damn mind. And this is what I don't understand. I see a lot of people who are from LA and New York and stuff. They're all moving to North Carolina. He said Kamala is very different. I know people have serious trauma, but I have heard Trump supporters are keeping quiet because they've been shamed. Yeah, that's why I told y'all the day when I worked at the Garden, I can't tell you how many Trump supporters came up to me and was like, oh, thank you for working this event. Thank you for doing it. I was like, child, well, in my head, I was like, I didn't have a choice, number one. And number two, like I told y'all, this was sort of a social experiment to me. Like I literally wanted to see what it would be like to be in a silo and if these people are the way that the media says they are. It's not like a lot of those stupid little videos that I've been seeing certain coloreds putting up on and yes, y'all are coloreds. I did not mince words when I said that. Because it was black folk, men particularly, who jumped up on TikTok trying to formulate and say, oh, I'm going to wear a Kamala Harris hat and I'm going to wear it to a Trump rally. And so I'm like, if you don't get your little coon behind off my line with this foolishness, it's like you wasn't in the silo like I was. So I already said throughout the episodes that we had my overall thoughts on that. Like, yeah, I'm sure a lot of the people meant well or whatever, but I don't, I'm not gonna sit and paint everybody with the broad brush. It's like, oh yeah, well, everybody in this room is a racist, and everybody in this room is this, and I was like, well, still, I am kind of confused as to why people would even want to entertain his foolishness. But like I said before, people are there because they like the pomp and circumstance of it all. They like the entertainment. It gives one. Not a lot of people have the opportunity to ever step foot inside of a Madison Square Garden because we have people who are fascinated when they get in those rooms. Like, oh my, like there's people literally that will come in the arena. It's like, oh, I've never been here before, or, and they hear so many amazing things about the garden. They just want to experience that moment. So I'm thinking there was some for that. And then I think there were people there that were genuinely curious as well. Now, the reality of if they believe everything that was coming out of this man's mouth, or they know it's a bunch of BS and they're just entertained by it because it's like watching the WWE or something, that's kind of like what I was thinking a lot of people were taking from it. I heard she will flip Texas and Florida. Florida. Texas had that teen died due to the draconian laws. Oh yeah, you talking about the one with the they couldn't that had the difficulty with the baby and also yeah, there's been a lot of crazy stories about that's been happening with particularly with women who are having like difficult pregnancies. And I just love the fact that a lot of y'all just run around here thinking, oh, let's paint it all with a broad brush and just be like, oh yeah, like everybody's women are just literally running around with their legs spread open on a doctor's desk talking about suck this baby out of me. I don't want it. Like that's not why I don't want it. I don't want it. It's like that's not what a lot of people, that's not what an abortion is. And I really feel like that if you are not a medical person, if you're not somebody who has an MD, who went to medical school, who understands anatomy, stop trying to make decisions about people's bodies. And I'm not just saying with women, it's with people in general. I just really wish that the legal world would stay out of the medical world. If you are not someone who understands medicine or went to school for it, shut the fuck up. Point blank, end the period. Hey, you said I had a feeling out of a friend of mine who was a Trump supporter that she was saying I was uninformed and was calling me delusional. She was defending him to me yesterday, and it was well. That's why, child. There's no getting through those people. Whenever you see people like that and they want to sit and deflect and call you delusional and all this other stuff, the best thing you could do is I'm gonna give you a word of advice. You want to know how to shut them up? Be blessed. That's all you say, and keep it moving. Be blessed. There's no way Kamala is going to flip Iowa, Texas, or Florida. The major cities in those states aren't big enough to outnumber the rural county votes. Well, we shall see, depending on, the conversations that I'm going to be keeping an eye on with the media. But I feel like I'm going to avoid all the news and the media and all this other stuff today. I've been staying away from that because they're going to drive me to drink. Although I have been catching little MSNBC clips and things of that nature. I've been watching Michael Moore's recent podcast, and he's been on it in regards of what his gut is telling. He said, I told y'all back in the day that Trump was going to win, and y'all cussed me out. You booed me off the stage at the Oscars and all this other stuff. And what happened? He won. But he said in his gut this year, he feel Kamala's going to win. So, the people that be out here, the ones that look like they got the tinfoil hats on and y'all be thinking it's crazy. I was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to them because a lot of times they know what the hell they talking about. And then plus it was like a recent poll that they do. And I don't like a poll. The only poll I would like is if I get to wrap my thighs around one at the club. Those are the only polls I feel like everybody should choose or get in, be happy with or want to get excited for. Those type of polls, not the other ones, because them other polls, I feel like they do a lot of fear mongering. But there was this one particular poll, and I cannot remember the name of it, but I know I've been watching like a multitude of shows where they were talking about this one particular poll has usually been on point in regards of who the country, who's going to win and all this other stuff. So, and they've been talking about in her favor, but by a small margin, which is weird that well, not so weird because I will say it's sad that we look at our country and it's obviously you could tell that we're divided. And how we got here is because people just lost faith in the politics. The Democrats just basically sit on their hands and aren't open enough and being out here loud enough telling people what policies they are passing. They think everybody just gets online and does research. People are lazy. Nobody gets online to read. Nobody does research. Nobody does anything. They want y'all to just tell them every damn thing. Let me know what you're doing. And y'all are poor communicators. Whereas The Republicans will run up on TV and just say, "Oh no, they're taking away this," and they. I told you they favorite math equation is subtraction. They love telling you what people are trying to take away. Meanwhile, they're the ones doing it. And then the Democrats, oh no, nobody's going to take them seriously. People are smart enough to. No, they're not. People are not that smart. And there's no shade, but I'm just saying, majority of the world is not smart, and a lot of people don't know a lot of things. So you do have to explain things to people. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. Okay, so now let's get into some more political news, and let's talk about Jon Stewart, who is being dragged by one of his ex Daily Show correspondents. Now, I don't know if y'all heard, or maybe I don't remember if I brought it up on the show, but I think I did in passing. But Jon Stewart actually has extended his Daily Show contract until 2025, and I have to say I do like Jon Stewart. I definitely have always liked him politically, but I feel like if you starting to teeter in Bill Maher territory, sir, um, I'm going to have to excommunicado you from my viewing situation. So I will say this, I was disappointed when I did watch that Daily Show clip that, because I don't watch the full episodes or whatever. Or actually I do. So I watch sometimes, stuff that's on, if it's on YouTube, whatever cases. I know I could watch Comedy Central on Paramount Plus because I have it. But for the most part, it's like, I tell you, I spend so much money on streaming services, but I spend more time on YouTube than any of the streaming services, which is crazy. How the free channel I spend more time with, but I barely spend time on the pay ones. You see, that's probably a lot of us too. Because I watch a lot of Tubi as well. Tubi got a real good, um, deep, like one of those deep dives into like a lot of horror movies, especially like a lot of films that it was like, oh my God, I haven't seen this movie in a month of Sundays, but they got it on Tubi. So it's funny how I spend more time with the free stuff. So yeah, I did watch the recent episode, and then Jon Stewart, he was talking about, the political commentary, obviously, and the jokes. Yeah, they were flying, but I will say it did rub me the wrong way when he basically defended Tony Hinchcliffe and said he is funny. Now, I will say this, for the most part, if you've ever seen Kill Tony, and I never heard of Kill Tony podcast, and I never heard of Tony Hinchcliffe until I worked two of his shows at Madison Square Garden. That was the only time I heard of him. And when I experienced his show, which was being recorded and all this other stuff, and he had those panel of people, Andrew Dice Clay came out, Joe Rogan, who just admitted he voted for Trump today, was there, a bunch of top-notch comedians was there. And they were pretty funny. They were delivering a lot of hilarious, unfiltered insult jokes. But when you go for and I already told y'all a million times, I love insult comedy if it's done the right way. If you are somebody who's really funny and knows how to set it up and is not trying to just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just say bigoted stuff, and then if it's not funny, oh, you're just not funny, you're lame. Like when you start doing that mess, then it's like, yeah, it's a problem. The problem is that Tony Hinchcliffe's humor should not have been at a political rally. That is not what rallies are for. Rallies is not some stand-up routine. This is why I keep saying, like, the way I feel like people, when they go to these Trump rallies, they look at this as some sort of WWE comedy show, whatever the case is, rather than, okay, this is your lives that's about to be at stake for the next 4 years if you vote in his direction. So is this a political rally or is this a roast? Like, what is it? And that's what Tony does. He's a roaster. If you saw his recent stint at the Tom Brady roast, he was pretty funny. So that's what that calls for. But I feel like Jon Stewart did not hit the ball out of the park when he was trying to explain that on The Daily Show, which made it seem like that he was okay with Tony saying what he said about Puerto Ricans and Black folks and Jews at the MAGA rally at Madison Square Garden. So basically, the story said the Daily Show producer host Jon Stewart has been publicly blasted yet again by his former correspondent Wyatt Cenac. This time, I think that's how you say his name, Cenac. So I'm just go with Cenac. This time for shielding Trump rally comedian Tony Hinchcliffe. The 61-year-old Mark Twain Prize winner admitted on the October 28th episode of his Comedy Central show that he finds the 40-year-old, damn, he's 40? Let's continue. He finds a 40-year-old insult comic very funny despite him calling Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage and other racially charged material. John excused the comedian's participation in a xenophobic way as a fault of the organizers for booking a roast comedian. Having worked for John, his response wasn't really surprising. Disappointing, but not surprising. The outraged 48-year-old wrote on Substack Sunday. Damn, what is this? Another Facebook, Twitter type of channel? Because why am I? Oh wait, I think I have heard of Substack, but I'm not engaging with no more of these social media platforms. I just joined Threads. So I'm like, we trying to keep up with all these damn websites. Anyway, so they said he appeared to be shielding a comedian whose performance uttered those rally attendees the chance to laugh at bigotry, which perhaps made the more serious hateful vitriol that followed that much easier to swallow. Cenac continued, on Monday, America's trusted voice wasn't defending comedy as much as suggesting to racists, maybe if their hate speech had made him laugh, he might have their backs too. Cenac also criticized Stewart for defending Joe Rogan, whose podcast boasts 18.1 million subscribers, despite him coming under fire for spreading misinformation about COVID, as well as a history of misogynist and racist comments. Stewart and Rogan were personally more worried about. Stewart said Rogan was personally more worried about the algorithm of misinformation than the purveyor of misinformation, which feels a bit like being worried about bullets, but not the person holding a gun. This is what the Grammy-nominated Funny Man wrote. Cenac noted how the 23-time Emmy winner, damn, he has that many Emmys? But I guess because Jon Stewart is someone who is pretty much revered in the world of comedy and politics. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised that he would get those, he would have that many Emmys. So Cenac noted that the 23-time Emmy winner defended Dave Chappelle for his transgender jokes because his intentions were never hurtful and feigned ignorance, I should say, when asked about having Louis C.K. on his Daily Show after allegations he sexually harassed women. So damn, now it's like Comedy Central. Y'all sure y'all want to sign him on for another season of the Daily Show? Because the way that he's being dragged out here, talking about that he's, okay with xenophobia, he's okay with transphobia, he's okay with somebody making racist jokes. Like, you're sitting out here defending people, especially someone like a Dave Chappelle, who has made a lot of trans jokes, and I feel like I don't know. Well, basically, it said when it comes to criticizing other comedians, John, in his unique position, often chooses to close ranks the way cops do when a fellow officer is under investigation or for impropriety. And I think that was probably the point I was trying to make. It's just sort of like, you know what? He's good at bringing up things about politicians, saying bigoted things, bad things, ignorant things. But when it comes to his own peers, those who are in comedy, he doesn't offer the same energy. And I guess maybe he feels like he shouldn't criticize other comedians. But I do feel like there could have been a way that you could have went about it. You could have just been like, Tony Hinchcliffe is very funny. He's a roast comic. However, and I don't remember if he actually said this. So if he did say this in the Daily Show episode, then it is what it is. I can't take it back as I'm about to say it. So, but I feel like you could have been like, Tony is someone who is very funny, but that, a political rally is not the time and a place for him to be doing those type of jokes. You know what you're going to get when you get a Tony Hinchcliffe type of person. You know what you get when you listen to the Kill Tony podcast. You know what you get when you go to one of those places and you actually get up there. And the one thing I will say this that I like about Tony is that he allows people who have never had an opportunity to get a shot. Like, literally, you could be a nobody who just all of a sudden decided to do stand-up comedy today. You can go to a Tony Hinchcliffe spot wherever he's doing his show, and he could bring you up on stage and he'll give you the opportunity to get up there and break a leg and tell your jokes. And it's up to the audience to be like, yay or nay, because when I worked the Kill Tony show, he did that. So he offers the opportunity to he gives people opportunities, is what I'm trying to say. And then you can see them grow and stuff. But he does political comedy as well. I told you that he has two impersonators, one that does a Trump impersonation, one that does a Biden impersonation. And they come on and they do their little SNL-esque bit on his show. Where they make basically, you don't have to make up stuff with Trump. The jokes write themselves. Or the patheticness of Trump writes themselves. You can just basically just say the stuff he says, and then it's comedy because that would sound like some stupidness that he would say. So I do agree with Wyatt on his assessment. It's like, you know what? Um, I'm not. He's basically saying I'm not surprised that Jon Stewart would defend his fellow peers and don't hold their feet to the fire. Which is, like I said, you could have addressed that a whole lot better, because now people are looking at it as like, oh, so now you are okay with a comedian saying racial things, xenophobic things, homophobic things, transphobic, like you're okay with misogyny, you're okay with all this other stuff. So you're gonna sit up in here and dog a politician, a wannabe politician, for saying it, but you're not going to go in and let have on your own comedic peers. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Do y'all agree with what he tried to say? Oh, there was some other stuff that he said too. There was a whole lot of stuff where he basically, I guess, I think he was talking about like why he and the Daily Show host no longer speak. He said he was the only African American writer working on The Daily Show when he became deeply offended by John's minstrel style impersonation of Republican presidential candidate Herman Cain in 2011, which led to them having an explosive confrontation. He said Stewart got incredibly defensive. I remember he was like, "What are you trying to say? There's a tone in your voice." Oh no, now you're not going to talk about a black man with a tone, child, because that's a microaggression. This is what he recalled to WTF with Mark Maron in 2015. He said, I was like, there's no tone. It bothered me. It sounded like Kingfish. And then he got upset and he stood up and he was just like, F off. I'm done with you. And he just started screaming that to me. And he screamed it a few times, F off. I'm done with you. And he stormed out. And then I didn't know if I had been fired. So yeah, so it goes on and on and on. It's like, yeah, look, and I say this, kudos to anybody that has the balls to actually stand up to their boss, but like, you know what? We're not doing that. Like, you're not gonna get up in here and just say a whole bunch of crazy stuff and thinking you just gonna get away with that mess, because that don't apply to me. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? I mean, do you agree with what Wyatt had to say? That, you know what? He is a hypocrite and his feet need to be held to the fire in regards of, you out here basically agreeing with this man for making this bigoted comment. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Now, speaking of comments, let's get to some of these. The economy will suck because Trump's tariffs are going to break us, but I'll move to Alaska where Trump will not affect me. The Democrats abandon rural America in small town because they're not college educated and frowned upon, not college educated. Democrats have overtaken Miami-Dade. What if Trump victory happens to show you freaked out for nothing? Ezra Sprouts is in the building, says good roast comedy needs familiarity and mutual respect, and consent needs to be roasted. Hinchcliffe had none of those no, he did not. And he opened the damn show, so they knew what the hell they was getting. Roy Wood Jr. was the host and got away for the Daily Show, loving his new reboot of Have I Got News for You on CNN. How am I? Oh, I need to check that show out because I never heard of that. So I definitely need to check that out. Hold on, because there was one story that I forgot to put up in here, and I had to go. So I'm kind of stalling because I was like, oh, but I was in the middle of that. I was like, wait a minute, wasn't there something I was supposed to pull up? Because we were talking about microaggressions and things of that nature. So I had to bring that up in here. Hold on. So yeah, speaking of microaggressions and things, let's talk about Patti LuPone, because I almost forgot about this story. And doing that Jon Stewart story, it definitely reminded me. That wasn't even part of the docket. I just created it. So Tony winning Hell's Kitchen star Keisha Lewis. That's why I was like, why she look familiar? She just won a Tony at the the Tonys for her performance in Hell's Kitchen, which I did watch the Tonys this year. So Keisha Lewis has demanded an apology from Broadway legend Patti LuPone after she called the musical too loud and requested several of the production sound cues to be adjusted. So Tony Award, so she basically called Patti LuPone remarks offensive, and as I said, is asking for an apology. So Lewis, who's 59, aired her grievances with the 75-year-old actress and singer in an open letter in an extended clip she posted to Instagram this past Saturday. She said that remarks LuPone made struck her as racially microaggressive, rooted in privilege, and bullying, adding that LuPone should take a different track to promote a culture of respect, empathy, and inclusion. She also said that she was only speaking up for herself in public, calling out LuPone over the perceived slights, basically saying that she took it above and beyond. Like, she went to the landlord, she was complaining to everybody. Like, she basically pulled a Karen. And no shade, but it felt like, was she playing herself in that season of Pose? Was she supposed to be that Leona Helmsley type? A character who basically put Blanca Evangelista out of business. So I don't really think Patti was up there acting. But anyway, we do have the Instagram post. In case y'all haven't seen it, I will play it for y'all, and then we'll come back with my opinion. Please hold.
Hi, my name is Keisha Lewis, and I am an actress currently performing in Hell's Kitchen on Broadway. This is an open letter to Miss Patti LuPone. Miss LuPone, I want to make sure that you know that this letter is from me, not from the cast or crew or producers of Hell's Kitchen. I am speaking for Keisha Lewis only. I hope that you will take 5 minutes out of your day to listen to this letter in its entirety. Ms. LuPone, I understand that there have been a couple of situations that have gone on in the last few weeks that I want to address. The first one is that you contacted our theater owner about changing a couple of our sound cues because you found them to be too loud. You also, after our sound design was adjusted, sent flowers to our sound and stage management team, thanking them. Another thing that I'm aware of is that you dismissed publicly signing a fan's Hell's Kitchen playbill because
I'm not signing a Hell's Kitchen. They're too loud.
I wanted to address this because, Ms. LuPone, these actions, in my opinion, are bullying. They're offensive. They are racially microaggressive. They're rude. They're rooted in privilege. And these actions also lack a sense of community and leadership for someone as yourself who has been in the business as long as you have. I want to explain what a microaggression is. These are subtle, unintentional comments or actions that convey stereotypes, biases, or negative assumptions about someone based on their race. Microaggressions can seem harmless or minor, but can accumulate and cause significant stress or discomfort for the recipient. Examples include calling a Black show loud in a way that dismisses it. In our industry, language holds power and shapes perception, often in ways that we may not immediately realize. Referring to a predominantly Black Broadway show as loud can unintentionally reinforce harmful stereotypes, and it also feels dismissive of the artistry and the voices that are being celebrated on stage. Comments like these can be seen as racial microaggressions, which have a real impact on both artists and audiences. While gestures like sending thank you flowers may appear courteous, it was dismissive and out of touch, especially following a formal complaint that you made that resulted in the changes that impacted our entire production. Primarily, the people who have to go out on stage and perform the work were impacted. This kind of gesture can unintentionally downplay the challenges caused and sidestep the meaningful dialogue needed to address it fully. True collaboration means direct communication, respect for the work being done, and awareness of how actions resonate across diverse teams. I consider these actions bullying. It can be considered bullying, especially if it involves exerting power or influence in a way that negatively impacts another production without consideration for that impact. Bullying in a professional setting can include exerting influence to disrupt, using one's status or connections to cause unnecessary changes to someone else's work environment, such as requesting sound adjustments. Performative gestures are also bullying. And what I mean by that is by sending thank you flowers after impacting the production can be perceived as disingenuous, particularly if it sidesteps meaningful dialogue or resolution. If your actions come across as undermining or attempting to assert control over a neighboring production rather than collaborating respectfully, they can certainly be seen as crossing into bullying behavior, even if it's unintentional. Recognizing and addressing this will help create a more respectful and supportive community. I'd like to offer a couple of thoughtful questions for veterans such as yourself, and including myself, we can consider to support community building, equity, and inclusivity on Broadway. How do my actions or my words impact the artists, crews, and productions around me, especially those from underrepresented communities? How can I ensure that my feedback or my concerns are communicated in a way that is constructive and also, most importantly, respectful? How can I use my platform and experience to support diverse show teams, promoting the idea that every production brings unique value to Broadway? These questions can help veterans such as yourself and myself included reflect their influence within the Broadway community in a positive way and promote a culture of respect, empathy, and inclusion. In conclusion, on Broadway, we are not just neighbors, Ms. LuPone. We're a community that shares in each other's artistry and challenges. Respect and collaboration are what keep us thriving and inspire the next generation. It's important that we support each other's hard work on and off the stage. So let's lift each other up and show that every show on this street called Broadway deserves respect and celebration. Let's continue fostering an environment on Broadway that recognizes and values all shows for their unique contributions and energy, and that celebrates the diversity of voices and sounds and stories that we all bring to the stage. Ms. LuPone, I respectfully submit to you that you owe us an apology, not flowers. Thank you for listening.
Well, she told you, niece. Well, you want to know something? She got a point, but I saw that some people were feeling like she was reaching that, oh, it's not a microaggression, but of course, it's white folks that were saying that. So, like, you can see this one right here, where she said, could you be more condescending? Maybe you ought to come see The Roommate. It's a quiet two-person play. The music from the theater next door has music so loud that it disrupts our show. This has nothing to do with race. It has to do with volume. Some of us who have been working on Broadway for over 30 years have never experienced sound, and you can actually feel the volume during our show. The spirit of this community means we all respect each other. Our little show deserved that as well. As for signing a Hell's Kitchen playbill, why would she? She's not in it. Are you signing the Roommate playbills? Why would you? You're not in it. I don't think that's the point. The point is the fact that Patti LuPone came out her face, I'm not signing that. They're too loud. Like, when you say that, then it's like, okay, bitch. First of all, that attitude was not unnecessary. So that's basically what Keisha is getting at. But of course, you being a clear person, you're not going to get it. So it's funny how, like, when you're a person of color, unfortunately, we are of a time where we have to pick apart everything. We see the double entendres, a lot of stuff, where white folks, y'all get to have your little racial blind spots. You don't have to take into accountability anything because you've never had to really deal with any kind of issues like people of color, particularly women of color, had to deal with. And it's like, okay, so here's the thing. We all know a lot of these buildings and stuff where they do Broadway plays, a lot of those buildings are old. They're falling apart. They don't have like the sound insulation and all the stuff. Look, whenever I go to the movies, sometimes they be telling. I remember it was one time I was watching a movie and it was during a quiet part. Oh, I know what it was. It was Alien Romulus. It was during a quiet part because, you know, there are quiet parts in it, of course, because they were in space. And then the theater next door, you can hear the boom and all the other stuff on the other side. So I don't totally get what they mean on that. But for Patti to have that attitude and come out her face and say what she said, it's just like, okay, you were just being a diva. You were being a bitch. You were being difficult for no reason. And we know that this is how Patti does. Patti is rude in a lot of situations. And she thinks because she is this big, iconic Broadway staple, and nobody's taking away her talent or anything. But a lot of times when it comes to her damn attitude, she has said some things where it's just like, okay, sis, you keep getting out of pocket with that mouth. So I totally understand what Keisha is about when she's saying that, you know, in regards to her commentary. So I'm not mad at her over that. But for you to try to cause another microaggression and dismiss of what she said, to me is uncalled for. But there's other comments. Audrey McDonald basically put up 2 black fists and two heart emojis. You know, she's another icon in the music in the Broadway world. So she understood. Audrey McDonald knows. Another person said this was so eloquent, even with response of not signing the playbill because the play was too loud. I've never, as a designer, been able to give notes to actors in my cast. Never mind to even think that I could give notes to anyone in a whole other show. This absolutely feels like privilege. It's also disrespectful to the creative team. I'm sorry this happened to you, and I stand with you and will ride. Also, she sent flowers and stuff to the audio department. She didn't even send. I mean, she didn't even send like any kind of a phone, a stool pigeon. She didn't send a smoke signal. She didn't send nothing to the cast. You basically complain to the audio people, the audio department, or you complain to the landlord and complain to all the people at the top. You use your power, your whiteness, and your privilege to basically pull a checkmate. And by you sending it to the audio department, you pretty much was like, yeah, I got pulled, and what? Like you basically flexed your power over that little old show. Which, sidebar, the music is produced by Alicia Keys. So if you had an issue, why you couldn't reach out to her? Probably because Alicia Keys is the biggest star that you'll ever be with her multitude of Grammys that she owns. So she knew what the hell she was doing when she did what she did. Now, another person said, this isn't a read. This isn't shade. This isn't mean. This is how community can work, learn, and grow. We love everybody. Right is just right. Another person said, this is how you lead, Keisha. Thank you for showing everyone how it's done. And then another person said, a white woman even having power to change sound cues to a locked show is insane. Respectfully, Miss Patti LuPone is not signing one check for the Hell's Kitchen actors or crew. She is also non-union. So let's be for real on who we want to listen to. Thank you for standing up, Keisha. We need more leaders like you. However, the work always falls on the back of a Black woman. One day, it hopefully won't. Another person said, asking to change another show sound cues is what I'd expect from someone who is not interested in being an equity member while working on Broadway. You do wonder, like, why would you ask somebody to sign a thing that you're not in? But I wonder, with that other play that was mentioned, this woman that was talking about the roommate, is Patti LuPone in that? I don't know what Patti's been up to. The only thing I know about Patti working in is Agatha All Along, which is done. So that's the only thing I knew she was doing because that was the only thing I seen her in. Now, as far as like if she's doing anything on Broadway, that's news to me because I'm not paying attention to Patti LuPone that way. I pay attention to Bernadette Peters before I pay attention to her and Audrey McDonald and Nicole Scherzinger and Adam Lambert and Darren Criss and the rest of them. Yeah, I be knowing my theater people. And the fact that Joey Fatone is coming back to Broadway too. It said Ms. LuPone respectfully made a request regarding 2 sound cues. The production made the changes and she thanked them for it. Not everything is a microaggression. How did these changes have a deleterious? Okay, y'all just be trying it with these words. Effect on your show. Well, it does have an effect because they've had a show locked. When you do you even know how theater works? Like if you're doing any kind of a stage performance, you have your cues locked in. When you've been rehearsing for months on end before it even goes to the stage, or even if you have sound cues when you are a touring act, you have all that locked in. So you already know when the cues are coming and all this other stuff. So it's pretty much a well-oiled machine. Now you got this lady who ain't got nothing to do with your show coming in because she worried about sound or how the music from next door is affecting their show. So then once you do that for her, then what? You gonna tell somebody to tone down they singing because they hitting that they hitting that Mariah note a little too hard. So today it's one thing. Today is it's your land. Tomorrow's the planet. If I just said you give an inch, these hoes want a mile. So I say, let's say, what do y'all think of this story? Do you think that Patti LuPone was in the right to say what she said, or do you think that Keisha is overreacting? Me personally, I don't think she overreacting. What she had to say, she said what she said, and she's standing on her business. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. You said the exonerated 5 served Donald Trump a loss, as they should, because you know what? He out here doing all his little stunts with he's out here pulling his little stunts and shows with all his lawsuits. So y'all need to hit him back with some. And as he should, because he's been out here still spreading lies and misinformation about the Central Park 5, who have been exonerated. after he took out a whole page ad on trying to get them executed. It's funny how people forget that. But he loves Black people. It's the coonery for me. Well, oh yeah, so I did make some cuts to the show. I cut out a lot of topics because I'm like, as I was going along, especially when I was doing the Patti LuPone one, I was like, you know what? I really don't care to do these other topics. So let's get into Jason Kelsey, who isn't really apologizing, but I'm here for what he had to say. So retired Eagles star Jason Kelsey seemingly got into a heated altercation with a man at Penn State's football game on Saturday. So in now viral footage shared on Twitter on Saturday, November 2nd, the retired Philadelphia Eagles star, who was outside of Beaver Stadium in State College, Pennsylvania, for the Penn State-Ohio State game, could be seen walking while football fans surrounded him. I don't know if y'all seen the clip. I mean, I could pull it up, but then again, when you play it, a whole right, it's the footage is a little, I was like, wait, why is Paul Rudd trending? Hold on, let me pull this clip up so y'all can see it. So you see him marching, and when the saints go marching in, and when the saints go marching in. Hear what's going on. It's just a lot of noise. I'm gonna just leave it on mute. I was like, that's a big old man. But anyway, so yeah, so he went and some people were surrounding him. A person basically was filming the footage. They raised a fist to him, and Jason is 36, by the way, and called out his name for a fist bump. Another man nearby yelled a homophobic slur and basically said, "Hey, Kelsey, how does it feel that your brother's an F word, rhymes with maggot, dating Taylor Swift?" So last time I checked, faggots don't date women. Or do they? Well, we do know that there's some men in the closet, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But I do not think that this is some type of stunt or show or whatever that he's pulling, whatever. And look, if Taylor likes it, then she loves it. But the fact of the matter was, this dude was clearly trolling Jason, was literally trying to get a rise out of him. And the thing that irritates me about this whole thing is that a lot of y'all be running around here writing checks that your mouth can't cash. And that's the thing that irritates me about people, that a lot of y'all get way too comfortable with disrespecting people and thinking that y'all not gonna get punched in the face for it. So I'm actually I had no problem with actually maybe I should basically reveal what was I gonna say? Okay. So he basically kind of sort of apologized, but not really. And he said the following, because people was getting on him. Basically, he said, "Who's the F word now?" after he smashed the boy phone, picked it up, or whatever. And so people were getting mad at him for saying that homophobic slur. And my thing was like, who are you to sit up in here and get mad at him over that? Because I'd be like, that's me. That's a clapback. And so he basically broke his silence on the unfortunate event and basically said that, "I'm not happy with anything that took place. I'm not proud of it. In a heated moment, I chose to greet hate with hate, and I just don't think that's a productive thing. I really don't. I don't think that it leads to discourse, and it's the right way to go about things. In that moment, I fell down to a level that I shouldn't have." So I'm glad that he came and he said what he said, that he was like, you know what? It was a moment of weakness. I shouldn't have said what I said in that way. I didn't want to, but when you get caught up in the moment, what do you expect? You're going to get cursed out. And my thing is, that's with me. Like I told you, you say something, and I'm just speaking for me. I'm not going to speak for all the homosexuals. If you offended, be offended. But I don't feel like that we should come down on him because this guy trolled him first. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Do you feel that Jason was in the wrong for saying what he said in regards to this guy? My thing is, I'm all for an equal opportunity clapback. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, so we got because I had to heavily cut today's episode. So because I gotta go vote and I don't know how long these lines are. So I'm probably do one more topic, and then the rest of the topics that we don't get to, we'll handle it tomorrow. So let's get into this Austin Wolf case. So apparently, the tea on that is the situation has been delayed again. So yeah, this is like the fourth time that he's pretty much been that we've delayed his damn trial. At this point, I'm just like, y'all getting on my damn root canal nerve with all this foolishness. So shout out to Pride for this story because they've been following this story and they've been keeping me abreast of what's going on. So hold on, because I'm texting and I'm trying to do this damn show. Okay. So Austin Wolf will remain in jail as his case grinds on. A federal judge has granted yet another continuance, marking the fourth time that this has happened since his initial arrest on June 28th, moving the preliminary hearing deadline to November 27th, according to court documents. This latest extension follows a request from Assistant U.S. Attorney Getzel Berger, who sought additional time for plea negotiations with the defense counsel's consent. Wolf's attorney, Thomas Andrikowitz, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So you already know, basically, in regards to the whole story, is that I was like, wait a minute. See, I hit the wrong button and I closed my window. So it's that a federal judge, basically, in the Southern District of New York, has granted another 30-day continuance, moving the deadline for a preliminary hearing that was on October 28th. So October 28th came after the previous one, which is September 25th, I believe, and then they moved it to then. So now it's been moved yet again to November 27th. I don't understand why after 4 or 5 months of him being in jail, I think it was 4 months, that they continue to stretch this. Like, what is it? What's the deal? I just want to know what it is specifically that he has that he keeps trying to stretch this situation out and prolonging, the trial. So yeah, so at this point, we have no idea what is going on in regards of the situation, but all I know is it's annoying. I just really wish that we could just hurry up and get this damn case over and done with, because I'm tired of just being hanging on in regards to the whole Austin Wolf situation. And then every time it's like, okay, so what's the update? Every month, what's the update? It's that time. What's going on? And then we find out nothing. It's just like it's the same thing. Oh, it's been stretched out again. It's annoying. I'm tired of the whole stretch out. Look, at least we did it. We got a damn date. We still waiting on Austin Wolf. Like, we're trying to deal. What kind of deal he trying to get? So I guess we won't find out until we get to that next date, which is at the end of the month. And we'll see what they come up with next. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same outcome. So nothing to see here, I guess. So let me know what you guys think of this story in regards to this case in the comments down below. No, I did not do early voting. So I've thought about doing early voting. My sister told me that she did early voting when I spoke to her this morning, but she told me she did early voting, so she's good. But yeah, I'm gonna just go and do my voting and stuff now. I probably will be in and out because they pretty much run it pretty quickly where I'm at. So yeah, that is a good question. Why they keep delaying it? I don't know much about the case and all this other stuff or what it possibly could be the reasons. I wish there was a legal person that could give us more of an insight. But until then, I guess it's gonna be wishful thinking on our part. So yeah, at this point, I will say I gotta cut the show short, so I gotta go running because I'm not going by myself. I'm going with a couple of people. We all gonna go and vote and things. So like, look, I've been trying to do my part where they were saying, try to get people to get out, and those who aren't really sure want to vote, whatever, like get them out and try to vote and all this other stuff. So I'm gonna go do what I gotta do. I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna contribute to society. I'm gonna go vote for Jill Stein. I'm joking. But yeah, at this point, it's like getting to stop with the damn delays. I'm gonna go vote. I will see y'all next time, possibly tomorrow. So join me on another episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Those topics that I get to do today, I'm gonna finish those tomorrow along with some newer stuff. So yeah, we gonna have to cut it short. But I'm like, oh look, I did a 2-hour episode. So if you have not already, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also smash that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Love you all for watching. And until next time, ciao, darlings.